Welcome to the Recovering Perfectionist Podcast, where I empower you to develop sustainable habits, challenge society, and take messy action. I'm Christine, life balance coach and world champion ballroom dancer, and I believe that everyone has the power to create their very own life by design. The Recovering Perfectionist Podcast was created with a mission to encourage a life of abundance by finding peace and acceptance in our own imperfections and developing healthy self-love through sustainable habits and manifestation. It's time to align with the universe for the full human experience and redefine what it really means to be successful.
It's too good, the secret is out and wow.
Welcome back to another episode of the Recovering Perfectionist Podcast. I am so excited for this episode. This is another victory lap for one of my amazing clients that has completed and graduated my 12-week program, Healthy Habits and Happiness. And we are just going to share with you all the goodness of this journey with my amazing client, Megan Fry. Welcome, Megan.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh. Megan and I have had just an amazing connection from day one. It's just been just incredible. Megan is a health and wellness coach officially now, which is very exciting. We're going to tell you her journey of how she got there. And we were just discussing kind of like the first clarity call, because for those of you who have been through my process or, are interested in this program, the first step is to reach out, click on my link in the bio or reach out to me in DM, and I'll send you a link for you to apply for a clarity call. And Megan and I hopped on a call, and that call is really supposed to be about 30 minutes just to chat, just to get kind of an understanding of each other's vibe. And Megan and I were vibing. Like we were, it was like vibe from the first minute. Her energy is just contagious. She's also an actress. And I'm going to let her tell you kind of like everything about her. But that first clarity call was just like immediately I could see this vision that she had. But she's also like, and I'm super jealous of this, but she's also very young. And so she's got all of this like amazing vision for the future, but the experience is still learning and getting there and all of that. So that's where kind of I stepped in and helped to finesse a couple of things to get her on the right track. So Megan, tell us a little bit about you, your journey. Like, let's talk about where you started and like when you met me, kind of what you were all about.
Yeah. So I graduated college in 2020, which was a odd year to graduate in. And I went to school for musical theater because I've always been an actor. I've always been actor, singer, dancer, always wanted to do Broadway, all that stuff. And that was my entire identity. And so then the pandemic hit, and I think it gave us all a little bit of a kick in the pants to reevaluate our lives, but also it made me really reevaluate myself as a person and reevaluate where I was going and what I wanted in life. And I really reconnected with my passion for health, and that being physical and mental health and the combination of that. And so then that fall, I got my certification as a health coach and a life coach. It was a dual certification program. And so when I applied for the clarity call, I was almost done with the program, I want to say.
Yeah, that's right.
And I had all of these visions. She said it so well. I was like, I want to do all of these things, but I don't know how to do any of them. And it was like, I had gotten a lot of the tools from my program, but I didn't know how to actually put any of this in action on a daily basis and how to actually take the manageable steps to get there. And so I think I commented on one of your posts on Instagram, and it was just like a spur of the moment. Like, I think it was probably like 11 o'clock at night, and I was just like, whatever, me. And then like typed it in and then like forgot about it. And then I hopped on the clarity call, not even really like sure that it was something that I really wanted to do, but I was like, like any help is good help. And was just feeling really, I don't want to say lost, because I didn't feel lost. I felt like I knew where I wanted to be, but I just didn't know how, like I didn't know the path.
Right.
And yeah, and we hopped on the call and I was like, oh my God, she's perfect. I was like, she's everything that I need in my life right now. And yeah, it was just like an instant click and an instant just like, from like the big like mindset changes that I wanted, but also like little technical things that I was like, I don't know how to do this. And you were like, yeah, no, I got you. Like, I absolutely. And it was like the coaching, but also you were like, yeah, I know theater because you're a ballroom dancer, and like you also have so many other friends in the industry too. And so it was just like someone that like got where I was trying to go and where I was trying to be. And I think that's a really important thing to have in a coach, is someone that sort of emulates the things that you're trying to put in your own life.
Totally. Yeah, no, I mean, there's so many things that you said that I kind of want to unpack. Like it's, I encourage people to find a coach that fits them.
Mm-hmm.
The first step to doing that is just trying out people and just doing, basically audition process, kind of like what we do in theater. But it's important for that person to understand that they need the right coach. The coach can kind of like audition them as well and be like, are you a good fit for my program? But you need to find someone that works with you and who is going to see your vision and help you. I'm not attached to the things that you are attached to. That's what makes me so unbiased, to be able to guide you in a way that the emotion's not there for me. I'm emotionally attached to you as a person. I want you to succeed and I want you to do well. And that's what I'm attached to. And so, we like you said, thank you for all those kind words, by the way. The clicking was right away. And the cool part about what I do is because I come from a background of arts and dance, and I related to your theater. I had a lot of friends, that could help you, which we'll get into, of how I've connected you with some of those people in my industry that also transfer into your industry. And I just saw what you could be. Like, you already are so contagious with your energy. If anyone is already listening to this, like, you can tell Megan is this like bubbly, contagious kind of personality that's just very exciting to talk to. It makes me, every time we would hop on a call, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, you energized me. And I was so excited to help you understand how to live your life the way that you wanted to. Because I think that's the thing. If you don't mind, are you okay telling people how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 22. I'm turning 23 in about a month, which is
okay,
exciting. But
and
yeah,
but young in such a great way, because young with, an old soul, of the sense of like, you are doing things in your early 20s that a lot of millennials didn't do till their early 30s, and a lot of boomers haven't done till their early 50s or whatever. And so you are just completely like, I love your generation of what is happening, because you're learning from ours and being like, oh, we can do this sooner. And so that's why, like, where I'm at, I was able to guide you and help you, kind of teach you all of the things you said you were learning. You just didn't know how to apply them to life. And that's normal when you're 22. Like, you just graduated college. You really probably haven't even lived on your own yet. You're still kind of figuring out the mechanics of all of that. And on top of that, how to build a business and how to do all these things. Like, they don't teach you that in these certifications and in college and all that. Like, this is not entrepreneurial school. Like, that is not what you're learning. And so the cool part about what you and I were able to do is, not only did I bond with you on the arts and stuff, but also we were able to, you really wanted to just jump head first into the entrepreneurial world. Mm-hmm. How do I schedule my time? How do I schedule my clients? How do I organize my business? We did things from like LLCs to EIN numbers, and we did all the technical stuff. And then we went into kind of like softwares of how to schedule your clients, things like that. And it was really cool because I was able to share those things with you because you were on the receiving end of it on mine, being a client of mine, to be able to share that with your clients.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that was like the part of our vibe that really like got me in that first clarity call was like, this is a person that can help me in like those little technical things like the LLC and like the softwares, but also like I had no idea how to even like be a functioning human as an entrepreneur. I was like, yeah, they don't teach you this. And I think that's also like something that I've gotten so passionate about too by working with you is like, you can do this. Like, this is totally a possibility, but they just don't teach it to you. So like, how do you go about finding all those tools and information and building your life the way that you want it to be, not the way that society or your high school or whatever told you that it should be. So
right. Yeah, and your generation is definitely like seeing through all of that. You're like, okay, millennials were the first people to do it. This can be done. Let's re-innovate and do it younger. Like, I just love how, we're just kind of like helping and building as we keep going and moving faster and faster. So we kind of, started that. And also I don't advertise myself as a business coach, but I've started many businesses. So helping you through this was very, it was very fun to kind of tap into some of those things I don't normally tap into, but because again, like you said, just the guidance of the mental of like how to become an entrepreneur, like nobody teaches you how to live your life. Like you can get courses and everything on anything that you want to learn how to do, build a car, paint a house, whatever it is, like learn how to be a life coach, whatever it is, you can get a course on it, but nobody will teach you how you're supposed to live your life. Like what time should you wake up in the morning? What time? And the reason is because that's all different for everybody, depending on what it is they're trying to accomplish in their life. Absolutely. But like, there are some fundamental things that can really help everybody, that if you just incorporate these good, sustainable habits into your life, then whatever it is you decide you want to pursue, you'll have success with it because you're already building these healthy habits. Yeah. And so that's kind of what we worked a lot on, is just like, how should you structure your day? One of your big goals was, I want to have a better morning routine. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So absolutely. Go ahead. Discuss that a little bit.
Yeah. And I think like the cool thing about like working with you too was that for me, like I was like, oh, I need to have this morning routine that I see on Instagram and on YouTube. That's like, I get up at 5 a.m. and I go for a run and then I drink my green juice. And like, that just like was not me. And I was like, I do not want to get up before the sun. That's not me. And also like, it wasn't sustainable for me either, because I am an actor. And for us, like you do a show at 8 p.m. and then maybe you get out at like 10 or 11, like I'm not going to get up with 6 hours of sleep at 5 a.m. Like that's not healthy for me and that's not maintainable for me. So I feel like you were like the first person that's like, you don't need to get up at 5 a.m. in order to be successful. Like, which was like mind blowing at the time. And I was like, wait, really? Like I can get up like 9 or 10 and still like have a career. And you're like, yeah. And I feel like that was like, I needed someone to tell me that. And I needed someone to like help me build that morning routine that I wanted, but build it in a way that worked for me and worked for the rest of my life too, because it's not, like you said, it's not a one size fits all. Nothing is. So finding those routines and those habits that melded with my life instead of just plucking the ones that I saw from like my favorite YouTuber or whatever.
Oh, totally. And we all see that. We all live in a very Instagram world. And, we think that, the narrative out there is that you have to wake up at 6 or 7 a.m. All the billionaires are doing it. They wear the same outfit every day. And, they go on their exercise plan here. They do this, like you said, they drink their morning juice, all that stuff. And that's fine. That may work for them. And there may be a consistency within that, but also that's not everyone's lifestyle. And that's not, and like you said, if we are trying to also like with the dancing and with the acting, like those things we do late, by the time you get back home and you're eating, sleeping, and all that stuff, like, yeah, we're not waking up till 10 or 11 sometimes. And that's
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
Because I just don't schedule appointments until 11 or 12.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing. And like
Yeah.
you said, I'm glad you said that sometimes you just need someone to tell you it's okay. Like, I'm giving you permission. It
Right.
doesn't have to be at 6 a.m. Now, if we had a job, I have some clients that they go to work by 8.
Right.
So if they want to get a workout in before work and they want to do, they got to take care of their kid and all this stuff, they're up by 6.
Yeah.
Because that's their life and they mentally prepare for that.
Yeah.
I just don't do that. I cannot get
Yeah.
up at 6. It's just not, if I'm up at 6, it's because I didn't go to bed the night before. Like,
Right.
like there's not an up at 6 for me. Like, that's not an option.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Like, I don't feel like I get extra point, or some people get extra points at the end of their life for getting up at 6 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
I just
No.
don't.
And also, like, those people that are going to work at 8 o'clock, like, they're not getting home at 11 p.m. either.
Well, that's the thing.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like you can shift your whole day and still have a successful, productive day without, getting 4 hours of sleep.
Completely. No, completely. So yeah, so we were working, week 1, week 2, week 3,
Mm-hmm.
we were really kind of like getting to know your business and the lifestyle you wanted to create. That was really a lot of the conversation we would have during our sessions.
Yeah.
How you were going to build this life, what your life was going to look like once you were done with the certification. We set a lot of deadlines, which was really good, measurable timelines of like, you're going to do pre-launch, you're going to launch, you'll start the program here, we'll start marketing, we kind of backdated.
Mm-hmm.
And then week 4, you hopped on the call. Begrudgingly, you hopped on the call,
because I paid for it. I was like, well, I guess I already paid, so I should probably just show up.
Right. And how did that call go? How did it start?
Yeah, no, I really got on there and I was like, I don't want to be here.
Right.
I was like, there's not one part of my body that wants to be sitting on this call right now. I was like, I want to be watching TV. I want to be sleeping. I want to be doing anything else other than this.
Uh-huh.
And yeah. And then it kind of just went from there.
It did. And my job, when I hear that, first of all, I really appreciated the honesty. So for those listening and those eventually going to be working with me, please don't ever hide that. Because I think if you would have hopped on and tried to fake your way through it, it would have made for a very unproductive call, wasting our time and your money. And nothing would have gotten accomplished and you would have almost felt worse at the end of it. Versus the first second you hopped on, you were like, I really don't want to be here. This is where my mood is. And I met you where your energy level was in that moment. And so my job wasn't to say, okay, at the end of this call, you're going to be super high vibe. That wasn't it. I need to understand where you were and why you were low vibe that day. And what was the root of that? And how can we poke that a little bit to get some more answers? Yeah. And that's exactly what we did. And we came to the conclusion that you're kind of living this Hannah Montana double life a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about, kind of what was going on in that moment.
Yeah. So in that moment, I had felt like, okay, I'm building this business and I'm building this like big move. I was planning on moving to New York City. I had like this acting career and this health coach career and all these things that I was really building, but I was still quote unquote living in my old life at the time because it hadn't started yet. Okay. And I think like that can get really discouraging along the journey because, you can have all of these goals and like be putting these things in action, but that doesn't mean it's going to be an instant thing. And I think that got really frustrating for me. And, but I also think like that's such a testament to why coaching works, because like the journey isn't always going to be smooth sailing. And in fact, it's hardly ever smooth sailing. Like if we're talking about over 12 weeks of transformation, like there are going to be weeks where it doesn't feel like it's happening fast enough. And we live in a world too that's so instant gratification that when things don't happen like that, we're like, okay, well, I'm not even going anywhere. Like, should I even do this? Like, is this worth my time? Is this worth my energy to be putting all these things into something that's not here yet? when it was 4 weeks.
4 weeks, right? And like you said,
Like,
growth is not linear.
yeah.
And honestly, like what I've seen in my program with different personalities and different, types of clients, that sometimes it's week 2, sometimes it's week 7, sometimes it's week 4, like for you, that you start to see the transformation happening. And that's usually a dip.
Yeah.
Usually it starts with a dip because the universe is testing you, or it's like, okay, now she's prepared to receive the manifestations she's trying to, manifest. And it takes kind of either a test or some sort of reflection. And I think the universe was kind of guiding you to maybe choose a path or kind of calculate, how are we going to do both of these paths simultaneously? Right. There was definitely a kind of a balancing act we needed to work through. And we couldn't ignore that and just move on and be like, okay, let's build this business. It's going to be great, because it would have come back and bitten you in the butt later. Absolutely. If we didn't address it week 4.
Yeah.
So we addressed it. We discussed how you felt like basically you were building this business, you were on track to do this, and all of your hard work of going to college to be an actor, to build all of this New York life, city dream, Broadway, all of that was just like, you've given up on it.
Right.
And that was the cool part about what I do with dancing and life coaching and all the things I've done, is that like those things can be simultaneous. You can be both of those things, and you can pick and choose when you want to do them, but you don't have to give up one to have the other. Yeah. And I have, a few friends in the industry. One of them is, shout out to Eric Huffman. He was on Book of Mormon tour, and now he's on Mean Girls tour. And then my friend Sarah Klein, who I connected you with, who's amazing, who's crushing it as the Crown Crew on TikTok. And she's just crushing it. I'm so proud of her. I connected you with her because she's living the New York life right now. Yeah. She's from the Midwest like me. That's where we connected. And she went to school for acting, and she's got her jobs lined up and does her acting and does, she was on a cruise ship for a while before the pandemic, and she's kind of done all of that. And your personalities are very similar. So I was like, you need to chat with her, because she can tell you what it's like right now if you were to move to New York tomorrow. And how your life is going to look and how you would incorporate the life coaching into that. But what I loved about what you were doing is that at 22 years old, you realized that even if I were to book a show tomorrow, there's zero guarantees of a longevity career if I don't keep booking. Yeah. So your life coaching, which is also something you're very passionate about and you're very good at, by the way, because you understand the health and wellness and the diet, and we'll get into kind of like what you specialize in, but that is something that you're going to have, that you have control over, that you can continue to feed this machine that you've created and continue to get a positive output of a solid income, you know what I mean, of a business that's going to continue to grow with you. And then acting can be there, and you can say, okay, I'm not going to take clients for, I won't start my next round of program until the summer, and I'll just do a show right now. Right. And so we were talking a little bit about how to balance that in your life.
Yeah. And I feel like that was a huge, again, like it was a mindset thing of like, how do I had this life in mind of like, I was like balancing all the things I love, but also how the heck do you go about doing more than one career in a world that tells you like you need to have a 9-to-5 from the age of 22 to 65. And I was like, I don't know how to, like, I was like, I feel like I need to choose one, but it was like, no, you don't have to just choose one thing that you love in life and only do that one thing. So then, like talking with Sarah and talking with you and like seeing people that have this life in motion that I want to have was so helpful to be like, no, it's possible. Like, it's like, don't give up on any one of your dreams just because it may look different than something else that you're seeing. Yeah.
And also just, I want to just address the hard work that you do, because you can have any lifestyle that you want. And anyone listening, like, this is what we're telling you, like, whatever you want to do, you can have it. But it's hard work. And what you were doing, not only were you already part of the certification program that you were wrapping up, you know, a couple weeks into our program, but you also had like 4 or 5 side hustles of jobs that I was like, okay, let's just write this down here, because I don't know how your week is structured at this point. She's like, well, sometimes I substitute teach in the morning, and sometimes I'm Elsa at a Disney party, and sometimes I don't even remember
at the time.
A server. I mean, you were doing all kinds of things. The way that you were, and a lot of these things it was crazy, because I was driving yesterday and I saw I was crossing the street. They were driving and I saw, literally, it was Elsa driving the car.
No way.
Yeah, she must have been going to some party, same thing like you. And I immediately thought of you. I was like, oh my God, it's Elsa in the car. And I was like, it looks like Megan. So yeah, it was crazy. But the kinds of things that you do also, that kind of keeps your acting going. It helps you to kind of like stimulate that, you know, that fulfillment. And on top of that, you're getting paid to do that. You did, once, you know, COVID kind of, you know, passed a little bit, you were able to get back and do a show, which was really nice.
Yep.
And so when I was seeing you develop and all of these things happening and us hitting our target goals with like the measurable markers of like, okay, this is when we're going to put out your video. This is when you're going to, you know, introduce your business. This is when we're going to launch your program. This is when, you know, all the things. And you were crushing it. I mean, you were like, every week was like a victory lap after that. And after we got through that initial mindset roadblock, you know, because I think you were so excited, but then there was this moment where it was like, oh no, am I going the right way? Am I going too fast? Am I picking the right things? And then once you got past that and talked to Sarah and did all the things, it was like, it was full steam ahead for you. Like it was, nothing was going to get in your way. So talk about a little bit about launch week.
So that was such an amazing week, but it's a lot taking that on. And like, I had the skills of coaching for my certification program, but it was like, I don't know how to like actually get people in my program. I don't know how to actually like structure a launch week while I'm also doing like serving and substituting and being Elsa on the weekends. Like, and so you were able to really just help me make a plan. And I'm such a plan person. I'm like a type A person. And like, I love having a plan for things. And I feel like that makes me feel like it's manageable. So, like planning out, like, what am I putting out each day? How am I going to schedule these calls? How am I going to do all these things and have a successful launch week? And, and it was successful. It was like, I think a day in, I was like, I have a client. And you were like, it's been a day. And I was like, I know.
Like every day it was like I've never heard from you more than in that week. It was like, I got another call. I got 2 more calls. I got another client. Like it was so exciting. It was like the best victory lap for you that week. Yeah. You launched your YouTube channel a couple weeks before your launch program. Which was great because your content, I mean, that's another thing. You were taking time to create content, which a lot of coaches don't do, valuable content. Let's talk a little bit about what it is that you do, like why someone would work with you and what is it that you specialize in teaching people?
Yeah. So my program is called Inside Out Health. And I think the name is one that we actually came up to in one of our calls, but, one that really clicks with everything that I'm about, in that I think that the diet culture and the diet industry that we're in right now is really gung-ho about going from everything from the outside in. And it's, what food are you doing? What food are you doing? What food are you eating? What workouts are you doing? And let's track everything from the calories that you're putting into your body, and doing all these things when it doesn't feel like you, and you don't understand a reason why you're doing it. you're just doing it because someone else told you to do it because you're going for the outside appearance, or you're looking to lose X amount of pounds or gain this amount of muscle weight, whatever. And that's not sustainable because it doesn't feel like you, and it doesn't feel like something that is a part of you. And the only way to create a really sustainable way of life and a sustainably healthy way of life is to go from the inside out. So figuring out what types of workouts work for you, what type of diet works for you, what kind of eating, I don't want to say schedule because I don't like putting things on a schedule when it comes to food, but what kind of lifestyle works for you and makes you feel the healthiest, and really personalizing it to you so that it is something that's sustainable. It's something that you can maintain for years and decades, and it's a lifelong thing. It's not just, we're going to do this program for a couple months that'll help us lose 30 pounds, and then once
back
you get
to
out
old ways.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know what to do now. Like, it's not a part of you. It's just something that someone was telling you. So
yeah, you're helping people create a lifestyle, honestly. The disconnect, I agree that, you know, diet culture, like we definitely also tried to get away from that word diet whenever we were promoting your program, doing marketing tools, anything like that, because that is just something that you don't resonate with in how you teach. And the same way that we came up with your morning routine and the permission to not have to get up at 6 a.m. Like these were things that you were like that resonated with you because that's what you wanted to teach your clients is what is it that what are your goals and how can we work your habits to build those goals? And you I mean, we do the same thing essentially, because I do the sustainable habits as well. You do it more in the health and wellness, you know, nutrition side of things and exercise. So your YouTube channel has a lot of like, you know, meditations, it has a lot of yoga, it has, you know, stretching, all kinds of different things. Very, very cool. All this free content that people are getting to be able to understand kind of how you work, and also just how they can get started on this journey that some people feel is just like Mount Everest.
Yeah. And I think like that's exactly the thing. Like it feels like, oh, I have to go from 0 to 100 when no, you don't have to. Like how do you make the small goals and how do you make those small steps day after day that turn into the big things?
Right.
And how do you make those small life changes that really add up over time?
Oh, chills. I love that. that's like we both say a lot of the same thing. It's so cool to hear that, because I preach that. Like you cannot, you know, it goes back to when like my mom would want to we want to clean the downstairs basement and it's just full of boxes. And I'm like, let's just do one box. Yeah. Like it's always so overwhelming when you see so much and you don't know how to get started. You think it all has to get done now. It doesn't. And the way that you're helping people do this, and that's why the 12-week program is so important, is some people think it's too long, because but I'm like, you know, it takes like 120 days or something like that to build a habit. And also you're going to go through these highs and lows. The universe is going to test you. You're going to surrender. You're going to manifest. You're going to, you know, find yourself. You're going to do the deep work. You're going to crush the limiting beliefs. Like that takes time to develop.
Absolutely. And especially when you're going at a manageable pace too, when you're not like a lot of programs in the health and fitness industry are like, you know, a 6-week program or like a month-long program. And it quote unquote works for your weight loss and things like that because you're going from 0 to 100, but then
you're shocking your system.
It's the shock to your system. And that's what gets those quick fix results.
Right.
But then once you're out of it, you're like, oh my God, I'm exhausted from not eating bread in 6 weeks and from working out 5 times a week when you had not done any of that prior to that. So going from 0 to 100 is never maintainable. And so that's what I'm all about, is finding something that isn't just like a quick fix hit and then you quit it a couple days later. So.
No, totally. Absolutely. And what was so cool is once we got, you know, we were starting to get things in place, things were rolling, near the end of the program, like we were starting to really create, like our creativity was coming out. Like you have these really cute little, you know, if those of you who've seen obviously Inside Out came from you know,
Yeah.
the concept of this movie,
Yep.
for those of you who have seen this Pixar Disney movie called Inside Out, the concept of all of these different elements of your program, you know, that you wanted to incorporate, like your energy, you know, and what are one of your other little characters?
Yeah. So they're genius, happiness, energy, and peace.
Love that.
And yeah, we felt like those just really encapsulated everything that I was trying to reconnect to as a source of your why and your why you're doing all of this. And by reconnecting to your inner genius and your inner intuition and focusing on your happiness and your health and your energy and your peace and finding all those elements first allows the exterior to sort of just fall into place, which is really cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, like, I just want to thank you. You were such a pleasure to work with. And we're still just, I mean, same thing. Like when we were done, Megan was like, well, we're not done, are we? Like, we're not going to not.
You're not leaving me, are you?
No. And for those asking, like, what happens after 12 weeks? Like, you know, I kind of create like a little like customizable program of, you know, like 5 or 6 sessions that you can kind of, you know, have whenever you want. And we'll kind of go from there. And based on maintenance and things like that, you had your program was starting, you were in a show, you had all these things you need to kind of dust settle, let things, you know, reap the benefits of all the hard work you had done. But yeah, then you're going to be moving to New York. Like the future is still rolling. All of these things are still happening for you. But it was just so beautiful in that 12 weeks to just see you really just come from this like caterpillar with all these dreams and visions to this like beautiful butterfly, just living your life. And just seeing you continue to just grow and change and just apply. Like, you're such a hard worker. Everything, every week that we did, it's true that, you know, what you put out or put in is what you get out of it. And you were committed, you know, to making all of this happen. You're like, I've got this, I'm getting my testimonials, I'm getting this, I'm getting that. And that's why you were successful and why, you know, and I use you as an example when people are like, oh, I would love to launch a business like that. And I'm like, yeah, like, what, you know, we talk about the mental first, like, what's your vision, where are you headed? Because it's not just about launching a business. Everyone thinks it's all about the, like the business stuff. And, you know, confirmed that for me, that it wasn't like in the 12 weeks. Yeah, we did a lot of business stuff, but it was more mental.
Yeah, like it wasn't a business program. It was a mental program. And I think that's why it worked so well. And that's why, like, I now have, like, I have 5 clients in my program. Like, I have a very successful, like, outcome from the program. And it wasn't a business launch program. It was a mindset program of how do we make this a reality for you? And how do we make this transfer what's in your head to what's in front of you?
Right.
And I think that was also like, I think that's also part of what drew me to your program too, is like the manifestation aspect of it, because it's always something that I had been so interested in, but never knew how to actually put into practice. But by actually learning how to manifest a business and also have someone who not did it in a, like, did it for you, but like having someone that fully believed in your vision, like, makes it feel like a reality, and it makes it feel possible, and it makes you act as if it already happened, which is the whole basis of manifesting, you know, like acting as if you already are there and already are successful. And so I think having a coach like you who just, you were like, yeah, you're absolutely, this entire lifestyle that you want is possible, and you can move to New York and have a successful acting career and have a coaching business. And, you know, I had this weird like van fantasy and like all this stuff, and you're like, yes, yes, yes. Like, and just saying yes to all of this, like, allowed me to put that vision into action and really manifest that for myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I love that. Yeah. I mean, I mean, like I said, also, I said yes, knowing that you would make it work because you're a hard worker. If someone just thinks, I want to do something, yes, let's do it, and then you don't work hard to do it.
Right.
Or you don't put, I mean, we worked and we put the steps in place. Like you said, we're both planners. We created a plan that was easy to execute. So when you executed, the results were obvious. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't expect you to not get a single client. Like, I knew you would get at least 2 or 3. You exceeded our expectations to get 5, but like, it was because you were so well prepared, you
Mhm.
know, and we didn't like stretch. Like, our sessions were an hour, maybe run over a couple minutes, 10, 15
Mhm.
minutes every time. But we used that time wisely. We prepared. You did your homework assignments. We made things happen. We did not, you know, we were not late on any deadlines that we set for you.
Yeah.
And that's why you were successful, and why you still are successful. And I think you're going to help a lot of people. You've already been, you know, some of your testimonials have just been, you know, amazing of what you're able to do and how you're able to connect with your clients, which I'm so excited to witness. And I think this could be an extremely lucrative and fulfilling career for you, regardless of what happens with the acting. The
Mhm.
acting is going to be able to be the cherry on top of everything that you do in life. And
Yeah.
now you don't have to stress like some, you know, actors that are working in New York, serving, doing whatever,
Mhm.
also working very hard, extremely, like, hats off to them. But there's a better way to do it, so that
Yeah.
you can have something running in the background, take a few calls a week,
Mhm.
and help people and impact their lives, and also feed your desires and passions in other areas of life that may not be, you know, giving you immediate, you know,
Mhm.
positive income.
Yeah,
You
absolutely. And
know.
I think that's one of the big things that I just really did not resonate with in the like performing industry is that you have to work all these other jobs that you hate
Mm,
in order to do this one thing that you love. And that just never sat right with me. It never made sense to me. I was like, why? There has to be a better way out there that you can build a life that you love and have all these different avenues if that's something that you want, or have one career if you want. But for me, it was, I wanted all these different avenues and I wanted to constantly be switching it up and constantly
yeah.
be able to do the very many passions that I have and create a life that was that, instead
Mm,
of living Monday through Friday for the weekend, you know,
right.
and living all these different jobs that I hated in order to do this one single thing that I loved. So finding a way to do both. And
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to put all of your links and contact if people are looking to, you know, improve their health and wellness, both mental, physical, all of that. Megan has an incredible program. I can swear by it because we built it together. It's just absolutely
Absolutely.
beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's already changing people's lives, and it's going to change so many more. So we'll put all of those links in the show notes, so you can reach out to Megan if that's something you're interested in. um, as I said before, my program is actually open right now again for re-enrollment, which is really exciting because I have very limited spots based on my timeline, and now certain events are coming back. So, you know, I'm
Mhm.
kind of working in my husband's business a little bit. He owns digital media business, and so I'm helping him with a few events. So that's kind of limiting how many clients I can have, but I am open again for re-enrollment. For someone who is looking to be a part of my program, building whatever it is they want in their life. They don't have to be building a business. Some people, I help them in their 9 to 5 job, and we help them thrive in that life, and build sustainable habits and manifest, you know, all the things that they want. What would you recommend, or what would you say to someone who is interested in my program but is still has some doubts?
Yeah, I mean, hop on the clarity call. There's never a downside to hopping on a clarity call. It's a half hour out of your day and it's free. Like, there's literally no loss. And, you know, for me, I had a lot of doubts going into that clarity call, but then like seeing the vibe and seeing how we jive together and talking about all the different things that we could accomplish in the program sealed the deal for me. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're having doubts, know that there's no loss in just seeing if it's a fit, seeing if it's a good fit. So absolutely hop on the call, and she's awesome. So
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, because I think I remember when we started talking, when you filled out my questionnaire, you said, I don't have the funds right now. I'm not looking to invest. Like you were just hopping on, like you said, it was like a late night message, trying to figure out the next step. And my job on that call is not to sell you. I was not selling you on anything. I just wanted to see how we vibed. I wanted to see what it is that your goals were and see if my program could help you accomplish those goals. And I've had some clarity calls where some people, it's like, I don't know if we're going to be a good fit. And I make that call. I'm like, I just don't think that this program is right for you. I think you need to find another program or another coach that might work better with what it is you're trying to accomplish. But, as coaches, as you've noticed with your own clients, we tend to attract the people that are like us.
Absolutely.
That have the same issues, the past versions of ourselves. And I felt that in you. I said, we are so much alike in our vision and what we like to do in life. And I've done what you're doing. So I can just guide you on that path in a similar way. And then you can just make your own decisions along the way based on the information. You just needed more information. You were ready to grab and absorb like a sponge, which was really exciting to watch. So a lot of the mental blocks we weren't working through with you because you were already excited about it and didn't have a lot of that fear. The biggest mental block for you was just, how am I going to do it all?
Yeah. Making the steps.
Yeah. And am I going down the right path and all that when we hit week 4 and halfway through? And once we got over that, you were ready to go. But I have some other clients that they have a lot of different mental blocks that we work through different weeks at a time. And I'm sure you're seeing that in your program as well, different varieties of people. So so as she said, the biggest takeaway from all of this when I have these success stories on my podcast is take the jump, take the leap. What do they say? Eat the cake, buy the shoes, like all the things.
Yeah.
Well,
and I feel like that was what happened for me at the end of the call too. Like you were like, yeah, I can do this. We can do this. We can do this. And I was like, I hopped on here not even thinking that I was going to like go with anything. And then you were like, yeah, so here's the program. This is how it works. And I was like, yes. I was like, I'll make it work. I don't even like, I'll think about the technical stuff later, but I was like, this is what I need. Like, this is the program that's for me. And taking that leap and taking that.
We painted a picture.
The shoes. Buying the coaching program.
That's it. Exactly. Yeah. We painted a picture of what it could look like. And that's exactly what it is. It's turning out exactly that way. And I'm so excited to see, this is the beginning of a beautiful connection between us. So this is not the end. We are definitely working together as well and doing things in the future. And it's just been a beautiful moment. So thank you for not only hopping on and doing this episode, but also just for your hard work and dedication in the program, for being an amazing client, for having a beautiful vision that you want to help and impact people in the world, because I feel like it's, paying it forward in this long progression of us all coaching each other. And it's just beautiful.
Yeah. And thank you so much for you. You've changed my whole freaking life. So I can't thank you enough for that. So
absolutely. Anytime. Well, listen, find your path, make your decisions and run with it, and find the people that will help guide you there.
Absolutely.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Thank you so much for listening to the Recovering Perfectionist Podcast. I'm Christine, and if this episode resonated with you or spoke to you in any way, please feel free to share. I absolutely love hearing from you guys and your thoughts about the topics based on your experiences. And also, if there's anything you want me to talk about, just screenshot this episode and share it on social media with your comments. Your feedback really helps me to curate episodes that best serve you. If you have time, I would greatly appreciate if you could leave a review wherever you're listening to this episode, whether on Apple or Spotify or any other platform. I'm wishing you a blessed week ahead, and remember, perfection doesn't exist. Take messy action. Healthy habits keep us balanced, and you are enough.